You ever stop and think about how one tiny little choice in the past, just one single decision, could have sent our entire world spinning off in a completely different direction? It's a pretty wild thought, and it's actually the engine behind one of the coolest, most imaginative genres out there. And that, right there, is the big question. That's the question that drives alternate history. It's not just about, playing make-believe with the past. It's about seriously exploring the infinite number of paths humanity could have walked down. All right, so here's what we're going to do. First, we'll nail down what alternate history actually is. Then, we're going to look at some of the biggest historical moments that writers just love to mess with. After that, we'll get into the really wild stuff, the more fantastical side of the genre. And to wrap it all up, we'll tackle the big question. Why are we so obsessed with these worlds that never were? Okay, so let's get into it. What is it that makes a story an alternate history story? Well, it all boils down to one simple but super important idea. It's all about this one key idea, the point of divergence. That's the moment. It's the fork in the road where the story just peels away from our timeline. It could be as big as a battle going the other way, or a president surviving an assassination, or maybe an invention showing up way, way before its time. From that one single point, a whole new reality just blossoms. So naturally, some moments in history are so massive, so pivotal, that they've become the ultimate sandboxes for these what-if scenarios. Let's check out some of the biggest ones. Let's start with the big one, the one everyone thinks of. What if the Axis powers had won World War II? I mean, it is a truly chilling thought, and it has fueled some of the most powerful stories out there. Stories that imagine a world where fascism didn't just hang on, it won. And what's so cool is how different creators tackle this. You've got Philip K. Dick's absolutely terrifying vision of an America literally carved up between Germany and Japan. Then there's Robert Harris, who gives us a detective thriller set inside of Victoria's Third Reich, or Len Deighton, who shows us what daily life might have looked like in an occupied Britain. They all use the same what if to get at completely different human stories. Okay, another huge turning point that really grabs the imagination is the American Civil War. What if the Confederacy had actually won? I mean, this question forces you to take a really hard look at the very foundation of America, imagining a timeline where the country stayed broken and the horror of slavery just kept going. And the creativity here is just off the charts. You've got your classic novel, where one single battle flips the entire war. But then you have Harry Turtledove, who just says, you know what? Let's throw in some time travelers with AK-47s. And then there's the mockumentary, CSA, which presents this chillingly believable modern America that was built on a Confederate victory. It's really something else. But of course, it's not just about those two wars. Nope. The entire sweep of human history is fair game. I mean, what if the Roman Empire just never fell? What if the Incas actually invaded and conquered Europe? What if Napoleon won at sea? Or maybe the scariest of all, what if the Cold War finally turned hot? Every single one of these questions just cracks open a brand new world to explore. Okay, but alternate history isn't just about changing who won what war. This is where the genre gets, well, wonderfully weird. This is where history crashes into pure fantasy and science fiction. We're not just breaking the rules of our timeline anymore. Sometimes we're breaking the rules of reality itself. I mean, just look at some of these ideas. What if the Black Death wiped out pretty much all of Europe, changing the course of global power forever? Or what if science was driven by gears and steam instead of microchips? And come on, my absolute favorite, what if the Napoleonic Wars were fought with dragons? These aren't just fun little ideas. They are truly radical thought experiments. And some of these ideas are so wild, you'd think they were completely made up. But they're not, at least not entirely. Get this. Back in the late 1800s, America seriously considered importing hippos into the Louisiana Bayou as a new food source. Seriously. Well, in River of Teeth, that actually happened. The result? A Wild West full of hippo-riding cowboys. It is as awesome and absurd as it sounds. Or how about this one, an absolute masterpiece by Michael Chabon. He imagines that a temporary Jewish settlement proposed for Alaska during World War II actually became permanent. What you get is this amazing, noir-soaked Yiddish-speaking city in the freezing north. It's a beautiful story about home, identity, and what it means to build a life in a world that almost was. So, this all brings us to the big question, right? With all these strange new worlds, from Nazi-ruled Americas to dragon-filled skies, what's the point? What is it that drives us to keep rewriting what's already happened? Well, for one thing, it's clear the genre is a massive hit. Yeah, it definitely has deep roots in books, and novels still make up the biggest piece of the pie, but it is totally blown up across every other kind of media you can think of. TV, movies, video games, comics, they've all grabbed onto the power of what if, which just goes to show you how flexible these stories really are. And yeah, a lot of the most famous stories have made that leap perfectly. Philip K. Dick's classic novel became a huge TV show. Comics like Watchmen became blockbuster films. The Wolfenstein games gave us this unforgettable, interactive world ruled by Nazis. And of course, a show like For All Mankind is exploring a timeline where the space race just never, ever stopped. So let's ask it again. Why? Why do we keep doing this? I think it's because these stories make us face a really profound and kind of unsettling idea. The idea that our world, our lives, everything we think is so solid and permanent, wasn't guaranteed. It wasn't inevitable. It's all built on a million tiny, fragile moments that could have so easily gone the other way. And that right there is the heart of it all. By diving into a world where things went differently, we're forced to look at our own world and ask why things happened the way they did, the good, the bad, all of it. These stories are like a laboratory for our own time. They help us understand who we are by showing us who we might have been. So really, they're not just about the past at all. They're about the present and the choices we're making right now that will become the history of tomorrow.